Grandpa, welcome to our show.
Thank you, Ralph. Happy to be here.
How are you getting along?
Very good. Very good.
Have you gotten over the shock of being put into the Hall of Fame?
I'll tell you now. You get awful nervous. I'll tell you that.
You know, that was an exciting night. That was October the 9th, wasn't it?
Yeah, October the 9th.
And the Hall of Fame nominees, let's see, were Hank Snow and Johnny Cash, and I believe the fellow that made records back in the 20s. Vern and Dalhart, Grandpa Jones. Did I leave anybody out?
Was it the? Maybe you didn't. Maybe you didn't.
I don't.
There's 5 now. Did you get 5?
Did I get 5? I don't think I got 5. I think I've left somebody out. Anyway, the winner was Grandpa Jones, and Grandpa, my congratulations to
Thank
you.
you.
And I'm sure that was a very popular award.
I'll tell you, I was nervous, and but after I got up there and saw the folks getting up, and standing up and everything, I sort of got over it,
Sort of got over it. Well, are you sick of Rattler?
Just plumb. I do that every show I do out on the road, and I just hate to warp it.
Now then, I realize that we are here in the 3rd week of November, and it's a little early to play Christmas music, but I always play the next record an awful lot at Christmas time. I think it's one of the prettiest Christmas records I've ever heard. And while Grandpa Jones is here, I thought we'd play it. It's called The Christmas Guest. It's a beautiful story. Grandpa, seems to me I've had this record now for 6 or 8 years.
Yeah, it's that. I guess it's that old. It is a monument label, And
Now, where did you get the material?
Ramona found this poem in a little book of some sort. I don't know, and nobody. I don't know who wrote it or anything. And Fred Foster and I added a little bit onto the last of it. And I cut it, and Bill Walker wrote the music behind it.
Well, it's very pretty, very, very impressive record, I think. And I thought we'd jump the gun. It's only about a month till Christmas.
Yeah, right.
And the stores are full of merchandise.
Maybe somebody's forgotten to get or needs to get some what do you call them?
Gifts?
Gifts, yeah.
Anyway, I was impressed with the way you did this recitation. You're a pretty good storyteller.
We've talked once of making an album of poems. I don't know whether we will or not.
Well, I think it might be a good idea. Now, I thought we'd put a little touch of hee-haw into this show. Zella, you said you did hee-haw.
I did. I just filmed it 2 days ago.
And Zella came in, and she was a guest on my television show. And so you've made the rounds, haven't you?
I sure have.
Well, I thought we'd add Roy Clark to this show, Grandpa.
Well, that's all right with me.
Didn't he, didn't you work in didn't he work in your band one time?
He's another one of my rhythm men. That's right. And when I went to Washington, D.C., for Connie B. Gay, while Roy was played rhythm for me. I got some pictures of him playing rhythm.
You were on an early morning television show there with Jimmy Dean?
Well, Jimmy had just left. See. Jimmy had just left to go, I believe, to CBS. I'm not sure. And they wanted me to take it over. Well, I went up there, and I didn't last 2 weeks, because Elvis come in with the rock and roll, and that fixed it,
You mean the rock and roll took over and people lost interest in country music?
Right.
It was there was a great impact on the business that time. On our last show, Grandpa, we ran out of time. You were trying to tell me a story about having a horn in your band as early as 1940 and how radical you were.
Oh, yeah. Well, this Dale Parker, he played that. He played clarinet, and he also played a tenor banjo. But one time we had a commercial, and we gave away something. I don't know what it was. If they'd guess what kind of instruments they were. Well, Lenny Aylshire, I told you about Lenny. Lenny would do all kinds of homemade instruments, and he had an oil can, a square oil can, 5 gallon, and he had a stick down through one corner of it and one string on it, and he played it with a fiddle bow and noted it with his hat. and that and the violin, Pete Rentschler played the violin and Dale played the clarinet, and they had a trio of that, and we got the people to try to guess what kind of instruments they were.
Did they ever guess?
Oh no, they pipe organs and everything, they said.
Well, it sounds like an old broom handle bass.
Yeah, only it was played with a bow, you know, and the can was the sound box.
The resonator?
Yeah, well, the sound.
Well, what did it have a name?
No, he made it out of a 5 gallon oil can.
How'd you tune it?
He had a key up there.
Well, apparently they never did guess the name of that instrument.
No, I didn't. Nobody ever guessed it. We had to finally tell them.
What was the prize?
I don't know. A bicycle, I believe, or something like that.
Grandpa, when you rode 8 more miles to Louisville, were you on the road?
No, I was in Cincinnati. Well, we went out on the road some, but not on big long tours, you know. And I rode it one evening when I come back home. I got to thinking about Alton's 15 mile from Birmingham, and I wrote it in about, you know how you can write a song sometimes in 20 minutes or 30 minutes, you know, and I don't think it was much longer than that it took me to.
Are you talking about one of the Delmore brothers wrote a song called 15 Miles to Birmingham?
Yeah.
Did you steal this song?
Steal what?
The song 8 More Miles to Louisville.
Steal it?
Yes, from the other song.
No, it's nothing like that.
All right.
The other one goes, I'm 15 miles from Birmingham, you know.
Oh, okay.
But last year, I found out where I got the tune.
8 More Miles to Louisville?
Yes,
Where
sir.
was it?
Well, I can't think of what the tune. I can't think of the tune what it was. But
Sing me a little bit of 8 More Miles to Louisville.
the chorus?
Yeah.
8 more mile in Louisville will come into my view.
All right, there's your tune. Now, what is it?
Well, I can't think. I'll think of it before the show's over.
All right. How many times have you recorded this song?
Oh, I don't know. It's 10 or 12 times, seems like.
Now, Grandpa, I want you to tell a story, even though you claim you didn't originate it, the Lenny Aylshire story. I think that's a cute story, about the dog.
Oh, well, every evening we'd come in, well, not every evening, but when we'd come home from a tour or a date somewhere, one of my ducks would be dead, you know. But what I mean, I knew that one of them dogs was killing them. He was a young dog, you know, and he didn't know any better, and he'd just kill the duck and, you know, and scatter the feathers around, and so I thought, boy, I'm gonna catch him and I caught him one evening, and so I. What is that thing to get after us? Anyhow, I couldn't find nothing to hit him with, and I picked up a crowbar. You know what a crowbar is?
Yes, I do.
An iron thing about that long.
Right.
And I hit him one time, and he just keeled over, you know. And I grabbed him and throwed him in the chicken pen. You know,
yes.
The old chicken pen there.
Right.
So he couldn't get it. So somebody said, well, Grandpa, that dog will get out of them little holes there. And Lenny said, well, he won't till the swelling goes down. And I didn't say that, but they got it.
Well, now they attribute that story to you.
Yeah, sure do, yeah. Johnny Paycheck. You know, he is another rhythm man of mine.
When did Johnny Paycheck play rhythm for you?
Oh, a long time ago. Me and Ramona and him and some other guy went on a tour, and I remember he slept a lot. He'd sleep.
And he played the rhythm when you got on the stage.
Uh-huh.
Is that when he was Donnie Young?
I believe so.
That's what that was.
I believe so. Yeah.
That was the name
Yeah.
he used when he first came to Nashville.
Yeah.
Conway Twitty is one of your rhythm men.
And I'll tell you how. Me and Ramona was out on the stage. Have I got time?
Yes.
Yeah, and we had the bells, and I'd forgotten about getting somebody to play rhythm. And I hollered backstage. I said, "Anybody back there with a guitar?" And here he come out. I said, "Well, you haven't even been on." He said, "Oh, I don't care." And he played rhythm for me.
You mean he went on?
Wasn't that nice?
Yeah, it was nice. Ahead of his act.
Yes, sir.
Grandpa, didn't you say the other day? Now let me say this for the folks around the country, that many of you saw Grandpa on the CBS CMA Awards show as he was first told that he was the newest member of the Hall of Fame. Then about a week later, they had a big show here in Nashville and officially inducted him into the Hall of Fame, and this year Eddie Arnold did it.
Mm-hmm.
And read the nice things about you, told stories about you, and made it official. And this occurred about a week after the CMA show, right?
Yeah, right.
Now, you said that night that Eddie Arnold did his reading and talked about you, you said that was your birthday.
Yeah.
What night was that?
20th was my birthday.
20th of-
now, was that
20th
night?
of October.
Yeah.
I guess it was about right.
Mhm.
And you had just turned 65.
65.
Never lie about your age, do you?
No, ain't no use.
How long have you been in show business?
In March, it'll be 50 years.
Do you recall the first job you ever had in show business?
I sure do.
What was it?
A little old theater up in Ohio. A bunch of us went. It was 3 or 4 acts, and we had the MC was a feller about 75 or 80 years old, walking with a cane. He had booked us there, and so he was the MC.
How old were you? 15?
18, something like that.
Okay. All right.
I don't know. 16 or 17, something like that.
Well, now 15 from 65 would be
Yeah.
50.
Yeah.
So you must have been about 15.
Yeah, something like that.
You are listening to the Ralph Emery Show, and this week we are saluting the newest member of the Country Music Hall of Fame, Grandpa Louis Marshall Jones.
The flower of the flock.
Huh?
The flower of the flock.
Grandpa, I want you to retell how you got that name, Grandpa. How that came about.
Well, we were playing the New England coast. I say we, Bradley Kincaid and Harmonica Joe and I were playing and we'd play plumb up into Maine and then come back from Maine down to WBZ in Boston and have an early morning show in the morning. We did that a lot, and I would be tired, and Bradley would say, "Get up here to the mic. You're just like an old grandpa." And I talked this way, and people got to writing in. And
Have you always talked this way?
Always talked this way. That's the reason I never could get a hit record.
Well, and how old were you then when
20.
he first called you an old grandpa?
22, something like that.
All right, now he
23.
called you that on the radio. I assume that stuck.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, it'd give us an idea, and
If people write in and want to hear that
said he sound like he's 80, and so we went down and got some false mustache and down in Boston there and a pencil and put some marks on face and he gave me those boots, that I've got. Bradley did, and that is in 1935. Too.
Have you had the same pair of show business boots for 40 years?
Same pair, and they were supposed to be 50 years old then.
Well, where did he get them?
He got them up around the Renfro Valley somewhere down
You mean the boots you've got are almost 100 years
Almost
old?
100
Do you
years
wear these on every show?
every show.
Have you ever switched off just for the heck of it?
Not unless I forgot them or something. One time some woman stole them and went up into the crowd. We was playing a picnic, and I was wild, I felt naked without them boots, and I finally some little boy come in and said, I know where they're at. And I said, where? And he said, a woman's got them on up yonder in the crowd. And I run up there and grabbed them off of her and come back. And
Was she protesting while you were grabbing
No,
the boot?
she was out.
Oh?
Yeah.
Why was she out?
I guess she'd been a-drinking. I don't know.
Oh, I see. She
was
just
passed
passed
out.
out. I see. Okay.
But I drug her halfway down the hill. I got them boots.
I guess there are 3 or 4 songs that stick out in my mind as being typically Grandpa Jones. Dark as a Dungeon, 8 More Miles to Louisville, Old Rattler, and the Mountain Dew. You've sung this 50,000 times.
Yeah, I'm
haven't
opening the show with it. That's 2 songs that I sing, Old Rattler and Mountain Dew. I sing them both in nearly every show.
you? There is a story that has made the rounds in Nashville about a road trip. And the 3 characters or principals in our story were Mel Tillis, Billy Grammer, and Grandpa Jones. And Grandpa, you take the story. You were on the road.
Well, we were out west. It seemed like it was Texas. Anyhow, we were going along, and we wasn't exactly sure where we was going. You know, because I said that I told them, I said, I said to Billy Grammer, I said, Billy, you can't see and Mel can't talk and I can't hear. It'll take all 3 of us to get there.
And Billy has a little sight problem.
Yeah.
And you have a little hearing problem?
Yeah, a big one, yeah.
Oh, I love that. Watch this. He's got $1 million. What's for supper, Grandpa?
Well, I was going to have beans, and I was going to have corn, and I was going to have biscuits as sure as you're born. I was going to have coffee bubbling in the cup, but Junior slipped in and ate it all up. Now, don't ask me anymore. That's the only 2 I know.
Many of you folks see Grandpa each week on the Hee Haw television program or hear him on the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. How long have you been on the Grand Ole Opry, Grandpa?
Started on there in 46, Ralph.
So you've
Of course,
been...
I left and come back and left and come back.
All right. But you're still a member of the Opry cast. On Hee Haw, Grandpa, I know you videotape that and you stop and shoot. And there's no live audience for that, is there?
No, only just a few that might come in and stand around, you know.
But they add that applause and
Yeah,
add the laughter, don't they, after you do the routines? Don't you do a week of cornfield jokes? Or 2 or 3 days of corn?
We do. Well, yeah. We do sometimes a 13 week, you know.
Well, what I'm talking about, though,
13 of them.
you don't do the program as we see it on television.
No.
You do it in segments.
In segments.
You'll do all the guest stars one week,
Mm-hmm.
and then you'll do what?
Maybe the barber shop, and then maybe the Colhanes. And
All right, how many routines do you appear in on Hee Haw?
Colhanes and the barber shop, and the judge sometimes, and the cornfield, and the
You're with the dog.
moonshiners, and I'm in quite a few of them.
All right, can you think offhand of a colossal screw up on that show that involved you? Something that really went wrong.
Well, one time I broke a string on my banjo, and that was during some of the first shows, and I was, tense anyhow, I thought I had to hurry, and I thought they didn't want to wait, and I was mumbling around there, and I said, I bet them fellas up there in that office is tearing their hair out because I'm going to have to change this string, and they filmed all of that. And me mumbling, and everything, and it come out in the next time on the.
They showed it right on.
Showed it on Hee Haw.
They do that to Junior a lot.
Oh yes.
When Junior messes up the cards,
right?
You'll be reading. Don't they give him big words?
Big words.
Deliberately.
Yeah, deliberately. Yes.
So that he'll screw up.
Mm-hmm.
And he does.
He sure does.
Well, I know a lot of people enjoy you. By the way, who writes what you say when they yell, "What's for supper"? Who writes those little limericks? Do you write those?
No, Bud Wingard writes.
Well, one of the writers does.
No, wait a minute. Oh, what's for supper?
Yeah.
You mean the
What you say?
Oh, the menus I do, yeah.
You write all
most
that.
of them, yeah.
Okay. Can you remember another one?
No.
Okay. Tell me about it. In your album, there's a song called "The All Go Hungry Hash House Where I Board." Good gosh, what a title!
First verse, ain't it? Well, I back when I was living on the farm in Kentucky, my brothers used to sing that song, and then I thought, well, I'd love to record that, and one of Merle's friends that lives in Central City, Kentucky, Raymond McClellan. He said, well, I know that. I'll send you the words, and he sent me the words to it.
Is this a funny song?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Did you ever live in a boarding house?
Well, yeah. Of course, I lived over here with I'm all
Mom up church? Okay, where a lot of the musicians used to
Yeah,
live.
most of them did. That's about all I'd reckon.
Were you single at the time?
Yeah.
I see. Grandpa, what was the story involving you and Stony Cooper and the mail pull?
Well, Stoney had a heart attack, I believe, and I had a gallbladder operation, and I was telling, I said up there at 7th and Union, where we used to do the Friday night frolic.
And this is years ago.
Yeah, years ago, and
Okay.
I said I got about 500 letters at the hospital when I had the gallbladder operation, and Wilma Lee said, well, Stoney got about 5,000, and I said, well, heart attacks always did pull better than gallbladder operation. She wouldn't tell me.
You didn't want to tell that, did you? Are you kin to George Jones?
No.
Huh?
No, but he's my favorite.
I asked George Jones that question one time, and he said no, but he was always complaining that my mail was in his box. Did you used to get on him about that?
Yes, yeah.
Grandpa, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Ralph.
Our guest, Grandpa Jones.